Once again, this is your brother Talib, who's assistant to Talik of Reality Temple Ministries on Earth in Operation Exodus, Mississippi. I would like to just make a quick analogy and commenting on sisters in the so-called pro-black conscious community, such as Cynthia G and Saza Ali. You know, I'm gonna say this, and this is no disrespect in general, to our fellow dark skinned sisters who are descendants of slaves born in America. But I like to say this that, when when they speak on black consciousness and like that therefore all of our people as a whole, and then turn around and do fraudulent things to us as a people, for self gain, as we've seen throughout the years in the conscious community, it really puts more of a black eye, on the conscious community. And in terms also, which is mainly, the case with our liberation struggle as a people, period. And Cynthia G, when she recently, I heard, made the statement about dark skinned brothers who are descendants of slaves born in America, being weak according to their circumstantial situations of what they got to go through with just being dark skinned here in a racist society like America and stuff like that, and a sister, had the, courage to stand up and speak out against it directly towards her. She just cut the sister off, and then things got very, nasty, which cuss words and disrespectful other terms started, being said, and then brothers, got involved in, just curse words going back and forth and like I said and stuff, but at the same time, looking at what I've been seeing lately about Cynthia G, and her inconsistency to her own message of pro black consciousness and, being for the betterment of all of our people, shows me that a lot of our sisters in the so-called conscious movement are just fraudulent as dark skinned brothers in the conscious community, and that's just a fact, and like I said, it needs to be really pointed out that, if sisters really want, the protection and respect, of brothers, they're gonna have to start doing their part by conducting themselves, as the queens or goddesses that they say they are, by not provoking even the ignorance of brothers, because the fact is, like one sister pointed out, is like, brothers is not that durable where we can't crumble under pressure according to the circumstances of this racist society that we live in. We could try to be as strong as we can, but being that we are up against a lot, just being dark skinned as well as especially a male, we have to salvage what we can. And this is why sisters must get behind us, well as we must get behind the sisters as brothers to help each other to deal with this, on a common equal basis. instead of tearing each other down. Like with the comments that Cynthia G made about black men, being responsible, for their own oppression because of their weakness, basically is what she's saying, or what she was being, confronted about by another sister who had a great point, when she confronted her. And, like I said, for her to just cut the sister off and just go rambling on, and was just a disrespect itself within, the dark-skinned sisterhood of so-called black consciousness in this country. Because I hear a lot of brothers, even like I used to hear my so-called ex-leader and teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, say that the women are supposed to be the ones to lead the charge and our liberation as a people, but I have to totally disagree with that as well, because it takes both sides, far as male and female, to, lead the charge of our people in terms of us getting to total liberation of all this 500-year or close to 500-year madness we've seen, over generations as a people in this country. So like I said, it's sad, and especially with a sister, like Cynthia G, who's admitted with dealing with white men. Although she claims it wasn't, as far as sexual relations being involved, but still, she associates herself, in relationships with white men. And for her to call herself a conscious sister and say that she is for the whole of our people in terms of our well-being and our liberation, from our oppressors, I mean, that's like I say a black eye to those sisters that are in the conscious community or that have tried to make gains for our people in this country for the betterment of our well-being as a group of people, such as, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Coretta Scott King, Betty Shabazz, Madam Walker, and others that could be named down the list. I mean, so like I said, we have to really consider on, far as our sisters are concerned, as far as how we, deal with this. Because to keep calling yourself conscious and then turning around and degrading black men at the same time, why you, cater to white men as far as depending on them for your substance, or whatever the case is, you have to really, rethink your whole approach to this thing called consciousness, or which many of you in the conscious community call black consciousness or whatever. Because, I mean, you cannot be for the people with this type of mentality, which has been shown. So I just quickly want to point that out, because, I mean, like I said, it's really becoming a thing now that people are exposing not only counter male parts in the conscious community like Dr. Umar Johnson or Polite, or Tariq, for incorruptible behavior toward, misleading and conning their own people for self-gain, but we see this now in the case of, like I say, with sisters like Cynthia G and Zaza Ali, which, clearly needs to keep being exposed. you know, and I mean, because sisters in this case definitely is no different from the brothers and can't really speak ill of brothers or judge brothers in such manner when they're doing, you know, incorruptible things themselves, you know, as far as, you know, making self gain off the suffering of our people, you know. So, like I said, we have to really re examine what side are we really on. Are we on the side of the over 400-year racist enemy oppressor? Or are we on the side for the liberation of all dark skinned descendants of slaves born in America? You know, and I mean, it is what it is. You know, and the more I see this going on in social media, even on the behalf of sisters, you know, we have to really examine, you know, who we even look to take advice from, you know, far as concerning our well-being or liberation as a people. Because I mean, the conscious community has in fact, you know, became more degenerate than ever in terms of behavior and conduct and the way we even talk to each other and so over social media in terms of disrespecting each other like we regular Negroes on the street somewhere on the street corner, you know, cursing each other out, calling each other names. Like in one video when the sister was trying to intelligently correct Cynthia G, you know, for making the irrational statement that she made about brothers, you know. And so, like I said, it really, I mean, it really needs to be addressed more, you know, far as our, you know, inside fighting and behavior going on. If we really want to see a true existence of us once and for all being liberated from our oppression, I mean, from our 500-year oppressors. I mean, you know, I mean, this is just coming too much to a head, and it's constantly further coming to a head to whereas we are going to in fact end up in mass graves, you know, well as concentration camps, which is going to in turn lead us to the mass graves, you know, because our people have just totally gotten too far deep buried into, you know, their ignorance, you know, to where they can't even take criticism from each other. Just like in the case with Sister Cynthia G and the other sister who made that good point when she confronted her about her, you know, derogatory statement toward brothers, you know, being weak, you know, due to our circumstances as being dark-skinned males in this country faced with so much racial oppression, you know, just because of the color of our skin, you know, which is no excuse for a sister to make, you know, in any kind of way. But I would like to finish talking about this at some other time. So as with that said, I will end this thought process right now and return back by holding on to this thought and put in your comment section and tell me what you think about this. Peace.